Chapters 12, 13, and 14 are about responding to job offers, negotiating for optimal pay and benefits, and managing your career. It's very important that you refrain from mentioning pay or benefits while you are in the initial interview process. You do not want to come across as someone who is primarily focused on how much money you will make or how much vacation you will get. While it is important to ask questions during the interview process, it is very important that you do not ask the following until after the position has been offered you, if you ask at all. Here are some questions you should not ask. How much does the job pay? How much vacation will I have? How early do I have to be here in the morning? How long do I have for lunch? Does the company offer matching on a 401k? Will I have an office or a cubicle? Is there a window in my office? Especially early on in this process, you do not want to ask any of those questions. Now, if they offer you the job, you do want to, before you accept it, establish how much you will be paid. My daughter was once offered a job without any discussion of pay. So, of course, she had to have that discussion with them before she said yes. But you definitely don't want to bring it up too early, and you don't want to even want to bring it up yourself if you can avoid it. You want to let them bring it up. Pay, benefits, and working conditions are all factors in whether a position is right for us. But the duties of the job, the skills required for the job, the disposition required to enjoy the work, and our ability to fit in with other employees are vital and should be established before anything else is considered. Regardless of how much money you will be making, you do not want a job that makes you miserable. I once had a student tell me that she cried all the way to work at one job every morning for months until it began to negatively impact her health, upon which point she finally quit. I've had students talk about the effect of ongoing job stress on their health, marriages, home life, and psychological stability. Few things are worse than doing a job you hate but cannot leave because you're making too much money and your family depends upon that paycheck. Do your best to avoid that situation by establishing that the job for which you are interviewing is one you actually want to do. Then think about whether it will pay you enough to do it. It's important that you know going into the employment process what you can reasonably expect to make at a particular type of job. Research is crucial. Salary.com and Glassdoor.com are websites that allow you to research what people in the jobs you are looking for are currently making. Remember that some people will make more because they've been working in the field for a long time. Be sure to look for what people make in your geographical area. The cost of living is much higher in some parts of the country, and wages are often adjusted accordingly. Always have numbers in your head when you're engaging in the job hunt process. Think in terms of a salary range. Try to avoid the topic of pay until you feel certain that they want to hire you. If they ask too soon what your salary requirements are, ask if you can wait until later in the process when you know more about the position. When it's appropriate, they should bring it up. Ask what the job pays. If pressed, tell what your research has shown to be the salary range for such positions, and say that your own skills and education make you an attractive candidate who should command a number near the top of the range. It's better to start high and come down. If the number they propose is lower than is acceptable to you, say that you're interested in the job but have been prepared by your research for a salary more in the neighborhood of, and state the range that is acceptable to you. Do not display anger. Simply state what your research has shown you is an acceptable salary for someone with your credentials. Talk about your background and preparation for the job and your interest in the job. Do not talk about your budgetary needs. It is not the interviewer's business what your rent, mortgage payment, car payment, or child care expense is. The only issue that is relevant is how appropriate the salary or wage is to the position, the work, the geographic area, and your qualifications. If the organization does not meet your number, you must decide whether you want to do the job for that amount of money. It should not be unreasonable for you to ask for 24 hours to think about it or discuss it with a partner or spouse, but ask if that will jeopardize the job offer. If they say that it does, that would be a red flag for me that I might not actually want this position. If you're offered the job and accept the position, it's perfectly okay to engage in an oral agreement on the spot or over the phone, but it's important to put your acceptance in writing immediately, stating your understanding of the compensation offer that has been made to you. Be sure that someone has explained clearly what the salary and benefits are. Consider benefits. Many companies offer less in the way of direct compensation, but offer benefits such as health insurance, on-site child care, a transportation subsidy, a matching 401k plan, and other benefits. All these are important considerations in the total package. You want to know what the total package is, not just what the salary is. If you are offered a position and do not accept the position, decline the offer graciously, saying that the offer is not a good fit for you at this time. Express gratitude for the opportunity to interview and offer your good wishes for the company as they fill that position. Do not burn any bridges, even if you feel as if you were not treated fairly in the employment process. I've heard of more than one case of a person who was treated unfairly in an employment situation being asked back to interview when the boss or interviewer who had treated him or her unfairly no longer worked at that company. So always be professional. Most people who have interviewed much at all can remember an interview that did not go well. Try to analyze what happened and learn from the experience. Most interviewers will not discuss why you were not chosen to continue in the interview process, but you might say in a very professional way that while you accept the company's decision as final, you would be grateful for any information that might help you the next time you interview. If they share information with you, thank them, and comment only if it involves misinformation. For example, a student was once not selected to go forward in an interview process because the selection committee was under the impression that she had not yet completed her degree. The truth was that she had completed the degree. In that situation, I would mention that I had completed my degree, but I would also say, I understand that you have probably offered the position to someone else and that it will not change this situation, but I actually completed my degree last month. Then, whatever the situation, move on. Just because you have been eliminated from the running for one position does not mean that you will not be hired by that company later on. Sometimes an organization will call an interviewee who had a great interview but was not offered the position and offer him or her the opportunity to interview for another position. I know of many students who did not get the first Gaston College position for which they were interviewed, but who were later interviewed for other positions. Many of these people later did eventually wind up working at the college. If you are committed to working at a particular place, indicate your commitment with your persistence. Keep applying. Chapter 14 is about being successful once you are in the position. It's difficult to summarize, and I recommend that you read the entire chapter. Much of it is common sense, like one section is called Show Up for Work Every Day. Yes, definitely good advice. Some of it might be things that you don't think about. For example, one section is called Keep Excellent Records of Every Job You Hold. I realized recently that I have not done a great job of maintaining records of committees I have served on, or the details of some of my accomplishments. For example, I might think, when was I on that committee? What was the name of that committee? When did I get that course sales certified? It's easy to be so busy doing your job that you don't take time to keep track of and document what you have done. So in this case, do as I say, not as I have done. Keep track of your special assignments and accomplishments.